The men and women who are swiped the least on Tinder are Asian men and black women. Why are black women the least swiped demographic for women on dating apps?
It's always a stigma that black women are loud, rowdy.
I completely agree with what she said with the stigma, because you know that angry black woman that nobody wants to deal with.
It's epigenetics.
Okay.
We were born in an environment where we had to fight, not only for ourselves, but we had to fight for our men. Because at one point, they were being attacked.
Discriminated.
They were being attacked.
The men who are on these dating apps have just had a bad experience at one point in their life with a particular black woman. On these apps, you don't know if she's loud. You don't know if she's ghetto. You don't know if she's uneducated. You don't know any of these things. You just going off of the experience you had prior to that. And so an Asian man, I don't know whether he got a big or not. So a lot of women are probably swiping because they go off of the stigma.
Yeah. Do you think you're masculine?
Very well put.
Yes, because I'm the head of the board at a lot of places. I'm running my business. I'm the one who's making all the hard decisions. I'm paying the bills. I'm paying employees. So
You're being
this
the man.
Why is me being the boss have to equate with being the man? When you become a woman in the workplace, you learn how to balance those things. So there is going to be some sort of masculinity, but I think that certain women have to learn how to balance it.
Men are taught to accept that, accept women who are balanced, who are masculine all the time and feminine sometimes, but you still want a man who's always masculine. You're not going to want a guy who's balanced, masculine and feminine, who half the time is wearing an apron, who's kissing you.
You're absolutely right, but my man never gets the work meat. He doesn't
How do you turn it off?
It's balance. That's what he wants. He wants to so fast at the end of the night. He doesn't want the woman who's telling him, do this and do that. I'm not his mother. I'm his woman.
If there's like generational trauma, imagine like what's generational to the people that were causing that trauma.
Is it discrimination when you don't want to date a guy that's 5'6"?
If somebody, you find out their height, you're talking to them, you actually like them, and then you find out your height and you diss them, you're like on to the next. That's discrimination.
So you don't agree there's a small line between discrimination and preference? Because I don't think there's a history of us people getting whooped because of their height.
Were high.
I don't think it's the same. I don't think somebody deciding not to date someone because of their preference, whether it's like, I like fit guys. I like girls with big butts. I like girls with titties. I like girls, whatever. Those are preferences. And in some sort of nature, yes, it is a slight of discrimination. But we live in a world where there's a big word called racism. And racism, I think, overpowers the discrimination part. Men are entitled to their preference. I don't think there's nothing wrong with a man saying, yo, I like a lighter skinned woman. But I think he also has to still have the mind frame of saying, but if I ran into a darker skinned woman, which I haven't found one yet that I'm attracted to, but if I do, I would give it a shot.
You're just saying it in flowery language. Can a guy say, I don't date black women?
Yeah.
I'm telling you that
it sounds real racist to me.
But if a girl says I want a short,
when you talk about black women, you talk about all
Different
skin
shades
colors.
of
When black women come this complexion, they come this complexion, they come this complexion. But that's not what the problem is. When you're swiping right, you're swiping right on the complexion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're not swiping right on the fact that she's an African American. I mean, look at the prince. He's married to a black woman.
Hello.
You understand
That's
what I'm
your
saying?
color.
But the world didn't perceive her until they really knew that she was a Jamaican black woman. So when you're swiping right and you're saying, why are black women swiped right? No, let's put it plain sight. Why are dark women swiped right on? Because it's not black women.
That's what,
because it's not black women.
That's honestly,
the stereotypes about black women are born from a place that is true. Thomas Sowell writes about it, that post-slavery and the Reconstruction era and in the Jim Crow era in the 50s, 60s, where it's like the most racist, the black nuclear family was still intact. Post the 70s, second wave, third wave, radical feminism that told you have sex with whoever you want, and then child after, has given us a sense of like, well, my body's not important, my family's not important, having a man is not important. Our music tells us that. Like, country music's not telling anyone to divorce their husband. It's rap music that's telling us, like, get rid of your man, you don't need him. In the most racist time in America, the black family was intact. So it's nothing to do with that.
Don't you see that was a problem for them? That was the most racist time in America when slaves were free.
Well, less than 1% of the population in 1860, where slavery was at its highest, actually owned slaves.
So did you forget of the drug epidemic that came
slaves.
about in the 60s and 70s that actually split apart the black families along with the feminists?
Well, I don't know about a specific community being targeted, but I mean, black people.
Okay, I rest my case.
I'm not saying anything about drugs or anything like that, but we're asking why are black women swiped on the least? And it's because we do not value other men telling us what to do, being around us, being in our lives. We don't value having their children.
Other men
we
or
have
men,
Please let her finish.
We have like, have you ever watched Divorce Court or Judge Joe Brown? It's
Those are
always a
scripted,
black woman.
ma'am.
Yeah, but that's
It's
fake. They
always
just
that's
asked me to
fake.
come on there and pay me. What are
Exactly,
you
they're
talking about?
fake.
It's fake. Don't go off of that. Come on now.
Ladies, what she's trying to say
TV.
is that
We've been there
in one of
entertainment.
the worst times to be an African American, black families were together. Black women stood by their black man, as she was saying before, right? So what she's saying now is that fairly equal across the board nowadays, right? And you can argue that minorities might even have an advantage over Caucasians.
Yeah.
And the stereotypes of black women are worse now than they were back then, is what she's trying to
They
articulate.
are.
Yes.
Because we have social media.
Right.
Well, no, because we are given, I would argue, too much freedom to do whatever we want, and not being held back by some semblance of modesty has made us, like, for the most part, run around in the streets like lawlessly.
Yeah, but isn't that-
and it
we-
doesn't reflect well on us as a whole.
So
you don't think
the
that
man is
more
swiping.
Right.
However, the man does not have to deal with that. Like he doesn't have to. So if he sees a black girl,
He assumes.
she may fit that stereotype. She has I'm going to say 70% chance of fitting that stereotype. Why should he
Wow.
bet on that 70% when he can swipe
70%.
right?
70?
Not 70.
I'm just
Not
gonna,
70.
Are you that
I
way?
just made up that
A
number.
black woman, are you
Right.
that way?
So do
I mean,
Yo, you guys
I
are
don't-
perpetuating the stereotype by cutting her off. Stereotypes exist in some semblance of reality
Truth.
and some semblance of truth. It's upon you as the individual to prove that stereotype wrong. But when you continue to perpetuate the stereotype, all you do is reinforce the negative stereotype of the race of which you are by proving them right.
They don't want to date a woman who is masculine. And you brought up a point saying, oh, well, why can men do something women can't? Because we're not men. And too many women nowadays are too afraid to hear the truth, but you're playing the role of a man and it's just not going to work out for you trying to get relationship.
Okay.
The real reason why African American women typically are swiped on left is because the average African American woman is 185 pounds. A lot of y'all are fat as
187.
yeah, okay? Another reason, there's the stereotypes of being loud, obnoxious, rude, crass, not having a father, not respecting men in general. Let's keep it 1,000. A lot of black women grow in fatherless homes. When you grow up in a fatherless home, what ends up happening? You only have a mom. She's got to be the mom and the dad. She bears a lot of resentment, ain't shit, blah, blah, blah. It continues to be perpetuated in the music, hip-hop music. Men don't respect women. Men don't respect women and the women don't respect men. You talk about the women, oh yeah, trick on these motherfuckers, all this other shit. It's a... How do I say this?
A vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle that continues to perpetuate itself. And the thing is that I don't see it correcting itself anyway soon. So people are going to sit there and read the book. They're going to judge the book by its cover. If you speak a certain way, act a certain way, look a certain way, they're going to assume you are that way and not give you a chance. And unfortunately, a lot of black women have negative stereotypes that are attributed to the black community. And it's on you to prove those stereotypes wrong.
Yep. Right.
And the big one that people don't want to talk about is African American women in general don't fucking exercise. Y'all are fat.